Good morning. I'm live, at least on my page. Wafa, after 3 attempts with the same problem each time, I put a post in the vendor support group and we'll figure out what happened later. So I got a bat to make, so I thought I'd come on here and make it at least, because most of you who watch me do it in Wafa, follow me here. Anyways, so we'll do that. So phone is still in horizontal. I have it plugged in. Just double checking that that's in. Because I had the phone fully charged, and then I went to do the Wafa demo, and just doing that very first attempt, I dropped 25% in battery. So that could be an issue. So we're plugged in now. I'm set up here. I got everything pulled. Some of you saw the photo on Wafa. So we're just gonna do the demo here, and I'll post the pictures on Wafa, and here, of course. Okay, so let's get you set up. I said to remember again that to pull you back more, and push it back just a little bit more. That should work. Okay, so got Sebastian all set up here. Our base is going to be one of my new braids from Curlicues. And so this is a BFL silk. I'm going to add a little of this Rambouillet. Probably this end, which is a little darker. This is really pale. So from this end, maybe corn or something like that, because we're doing a Thanksgiving bat. Okay. Also sort of very similar in color, but just a little bit tonally different, is this Red Aerie silk. So it's going to get us our turkey and gravy colors. And then we've got, I don't do green beans, but many people do green beans. So I got a little bit of this sort of more green bean color. A little bit of that. And then we've got two browns. That gets us sort of other dressing, stuffing, more turkey, and stuff like that. Hi, Amy. And then I've got Tussa Silk, and then I've also got two colors of Bio Nylon. And we're going to put in some Gold Angelina. That's the plan. Okay, so I'm just trying to sort of calm down after the technical snafus. Originally I thought it was my phone, because the phone has been having issues, but now that now that I can see I can go live here, that tells me it's a Facebook issue. And I mean, it could still be a phone issue that my phone isn't communicating properly, but it shouldn't matter whether it's a group or a page. So, okay. I'm not going to need all of this, so I'm not even going to try and undo all of it. We'll put the rest back in its bin. Probably don't even need all this, but we will do it. So I'm going to just take it and divide it in half. Roughly. It's a little less than half, but I got a big tub sort of over here. Okay, so we'll just use some of this. And we'll grab maybe this much right here. And we'll get started. So, watching from okay. Yeah, it's sort of, I guess the sun is out. No, the sun is out. It's way farther south right now, so I'm not getting the direct sun inside like I do in the summer. Though I may have to, I'm going to have to keep an eye on things, because, I normally do that demo on Sunday at 3. But what's happening is the sun is getting so far south that the light in here is not particularly good by then. But I only have to make it to, the 21st of December. So, Oh yeah, good turkey skin color here. Actually, I'm doing a Friendsgiving on Saturday of that weekend. I am. I had some friends that did sort of we used to call it sort of waifs and orphans type of thing. Some retired professors who used to run it, but they're getting quite elderly, and we got out of the habit during the pandemic. So I'm not sure. I just pulled some of this off here. I'm not sure if they're going to have anything. They usually contacted me before now, but I don't know. I'm not sure if I want all that at once. I think we want just a. We don't want it to be a very yellow bat, so I'm going to be a little more light-handed with this. But since this is right here, I'm going to pull off some of this. Regular silk, and then the bamboos, which add quite a bit of weight. But anyway, so I'm having a Friendsgiving, but we don't usually do turkey. Some years we've done duck. We all like duck. I think we did goose one year. This lighter brown color, the color name is Jolly Rancher. So we've done duck. We've done. I think we did steaks one year. May have done a pork roast. But I actually don't like turkey. And when I have to eat turkey, I have to have the dark meat. I can't stand the breast meat. There we go. Yeah, I think that green works really well there. Anyway, so we're doing some sort of beef roast. I'm not in charge of that, so I usually get put in charge of vegetables that are not potatoes. Since I was vegan for a long time, I was the one that actually cared about the vegetables. So. And when I was vegan, I would just sort of make a bean dish or something for me. And appropriately, this color orange that I'm putting on right now is called carrot. Yeah, and I think that orange works really well in there. So let's see if I can see any of these comments. Yeah, I'm live. So yeah, so turns out I can go live in the group. Sorry, in on my page. I cannot. I keep getting this error message when I try and go live in the group. So since I had everything pulled for the demo, I just said, let's just do the demo. We'll just do it over here. Because I got to be making bats. We got Threads and Fiber coming up in a week and a half, less than a week and a half at this point. And since I'm taking the Shopify workshop again, and I'm trying to do a good job this time, so I can actually get my page up. That sort of is going to eat into a lot of my time. Actually, I'm going to grab this from the thicker piece that I had on the side. Okay, that we're just going to pull off and deal with later. So yeah, so I'm sort of spread that out just a little bit more. Trying to make as many bats as I can. I've got to get some garments dyed. But sort of the timing, because it's usually a 4 or 5 hour commitment. Oh yeah, doesn't that look like Thanksgiving? And I got to work around between demos and Zooms and so I've just put in So the bright yellow and the bright orange were bio nylon, and I just put in gold Angelina, and I made a sandwich. So I did a layer of, yeah, you can see me on the screen there. I had a layer of the Rambouillet and then a layer of the Silk BFL. And now it's just, we're on repeat from this point. Okay. Yeah, so we're going to have some sort of beef roast, and I'm making broccoli something, and I think we're doing sweet potatoes, and probably a squash soup, and a pie that I think is not, I think there was a request for like a chocolate dessert. Not fruit this time. I always was like making the fruit pies, but I think Nancy, the hostess, she wants chocolate, so we'll be making her chocolate. And she doesn't really cook. She does a little bit now, but these are all people I knew in grad school, and Nancy had been my roommate for a while. And she, when she got her first job, she got out of grad school, and she ate a lot of frozen dinners and all that when she was my roommate. When she bought her first place, some of her friends and I got together and jokingly bought her the book that essentially was called How to Boil Water. Okay, so this looks like it's, I'll sort of hold it up to the camera so you can sort of see. Looks a little sort of impacted. I've got a little message there. One new comment. See if I can get these to move. Sort of. I can't really see. The print is really tiny. Really, really tiny. I used to be able to increase the font size on the, fluffed out a bit. Just go like that. I used to be able to increase the font size, and some update they lost that ability, and I'm like, darn it! Some of us have tiny little, can't read the tiny little script. Okay, this is really hard to pull apart. There. Okay. And I will say, having this in the horizontal position, I can see like your name in one line, so I can tell. And then, of course, Facebook helpfully tells me that there are 3 new comments or 9 new comments, but the problem is they've put that right on top of a comment, so I can't read it. So I will, as usual, read comments afterwards, and try and respond to any questions you have. So yeah, I need to do some dyeing. I've got, you see it on camera? So I've got 2 bags over here of undyed garments, and I have 2 of those blue IKEA bags that zip, the long ones that go on the flatbeds, and so filled with undyed. So things have to get dyed, but it's just sort of a matter of my schedule and when I can get there, and when I can make a mess at the guild. Now, I'm not going to put a ton of gold Angelina in this. I'm going to have a lighter hand, I think, on this one. I'm also, so if I can plan it right, I can do, because the dyeing takes 2 days. Okay. There's the, apply the dye, it has to sit 24 hours. But usually, if I can plan it right, I can dye some items. I try to do about, what would it be, roughly a washing machine load. And then the next day go in and rinse everything and apply dye fixatives and all that. And then do the wash and the dry. And usually while it's washing and drying, I can start to dye up another load. So I can do, I can do 2 loads over a 3-day period. I want more green. Yeah, I think that green contrasts really well. So, I can see there's more comments. I can just see that there's a lot of comments. I just can't. I can't read them. Anyway, so trying to make a lot of bats for this. So want to get, I have one piece, there's a vendor who I saw at the Iowa Federation of Hand Weavers and Spinners, who was looking for a particular style in a particular color, which I happen to have undyed, because sometimes, in the latest sets of orders. So I want to obviously get that, at least that piece done for her. But also my racks are getting a little picked over. I had ordered some things in the last shipment that probably should have ordered something different, but I have what I have. I've learned to accept that, and then I can't always promise that I will have a certain style in a certain color, unless you've asked for it way ahead of time. I did, however, get a new style, and that is, some of you may recall, there were these tunics and dresses that had sort of a knot right here. It was sort of a deep V-neck with a sort of a knotty twist right there, and I had the twisty tunics, which were sort of 3/4 length sleeve, and they had sort of points right here. I think I still have one in a smaller size. It's sort of a pink that I'm probably going to re-dye something darker. I think I did it with like Plum Blossom or something like that. And the way to deal when I'm having trouble pulling pieces off is just divide the braid there lengthwise. Anyway, so I also have, you may recall, I had the twisty dress, okay, which was sort of that same style as a knee-length dress, but it had like little cap sleeves, right? And I finally sold out of all of those. I had a really small summer, and it's an interesting style because what happened was I bought it, it didn't sell for the longest time, and then like this year, like I sold all of them, right? Both, well, except for one of the tunics. But so I thought I would try another iteration of the dress. They have a long sleeve, maybe it's 3/4 length sleeve. Sort of like a combination of the tunic with the longer sleeves, but in dress form. And so I ordered it. I think I got it in most sizes. I don't think I got it in small. I'm tending not to order smalls because they don't sell. All the other sizes sell pretty well, but smalls have a tendency just to sort of sit there. And we're going to put a layer of Angelina on this one. So I decided that I would try this as a sort of longer sleeve, wintry, more sort of dress, even though it's quite thin. But more sort of party dress type of thing. And I've decided I'm going to call it the Naughty Dress. Okay. So if you say it fast, fast, it sounds like no, naughty, naughty. Okay, but it's going to be spelled, of course, Knotty. I thought that was very clever. I love this carrot color. I wouldn't do like a whole bat of that color, but it's just such a fun accent. It just like really pops there. Okay, now we're going to put on some of the Farm Fresh fiber. There we go. Get some VM out of here. Actually, I'm just going to put that one on there right there. A little too small to use as a sandwich. And of course, I want to get as many pieces dyed up as I can for the show in Coralville, Iowa City, in December. Which is a little more than a month away. And one of the things I have to do before I go to Des Moines for Threads and Fiber is, sorry, I'm pulling off another piece of the brown here, is fix the dressing room. I don't know if you remember, my dressing room zipper broke. Liz Mitchko from Whirlwind Ranch was wonderful. She came up with came over with an extra tablecloth and was able to sort of pin it up inside to cover the opening that wouldn't close. So that worked out really well. I'm going to try and get this fixed. And one of the things I've been thinking about... Oh yeah, that looks nice. To know when to stop adding fiber. Okay. Yeah, so there's a couple of things. One, if you've measured out and you're trying to get a certain amount on. But one, you can feel along here to see how fat it is. You can also like get down like this, okay? And sort of look to see how full it's getting. Okay. And a lot of it's going to depend on the crimp of your fiber. So if you're using a top you can get like ounces and ounces and ounces on here. Because it's very compact. There's no air in the top, right? But in roving, particularly something like with CVM or something that has like lots and lots of crimp, that's going to poof, 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 poof. Rambouillets like that. BFL a little bit too. And so I can see it's getting, I tend to always get fullest right here. It's just something with the way I make batches right there. This is the part later when I take it off and I tease it, I will tease it a little more in this area to make it thinner. Not thin, but thinner. Okay. And so I'm a little like light over here. So maybe the next bit of yellow we put on, we'll put over there. But you can also tell in terms of sometimes, depending on how close you've got your drum to your liquor in, it'll also be harder to crank. Also, when fiber starts to stick more and more to the liquor in, that's also a sign that it doesn't really want any more fiber on there. Now I can usually get, once you know your carder, you get a sense of how much fiber it can take. So you'll notice when I work with braids, I'm breaking them in half. So a 4-ounce braid becomes 2 ounces, because I know Sebastian is good usually for 2 to 3 ounces. Right? So if I'm doing a bat where it's like a base that I'm adding a bunch of stuff into, then 2 ounces, and then however much room I can get with what other fibers I've added in. if I'm doing more of a potluck type of bat, kitchen sink bat, where there's just sort of a little bit of everything, I just sort of keep an eye on how full it tends to get. Like this part up here, we can just go like that. And also, if you have a packing brush on there, you know, if you've watched Caitlin, for example, you'll notice she sometimes presses down on the black bristles on her packing brush when she's doing it to sort of push stuff down. That's also what this does. Okay? But I can see it starting to want to stick over here. Now I've pressed it down, someone's going to poof back up, but I can tell it's getting really close if I look down in there. Okay. So this may be our last go round. Okay, so let's add just a little bit of this. And since I'm thickest here, I'm going to avoid putting things in the exact middle. No, it's actually slightly off center. Yeah. Well, especially when my table starts to get wheels on the bottom. The two of them are technically locked, but my table starts to wobble. I know, okay, it's getting a little harder to crank. So we're just going to add paint on the bamboo. Yeah, that looked kind of thick right there. Let's see if I can grab a little bit of that up. Okay. Now on this last go round, I'm putting the bamboo on first because it's slick. And okay, I haven't been putting any Tessa Silk on this. I was going to put Tessa Silk on this, but I forgot. Okay, so I'm going to press this down. You can see I got a little, maybe I won't be able to see that, but I got a little bit of bamboo that's already transferred to the liquor in, which is sort of going, enough! Throw this out of the way. Get some of the green on there. I'm going a little more green. There will be no green beans or green bean casserole at my Friendsgiving. I detest green beans. Well, no, I was like, I don't like green bean casserole. Like, if you handed me, like, some raw green beans to, like, have maybe a little bit of dip, I might eat them, maybe. Or, like, if I'm at a dinner somewhere and they're served, and as long as they're not mushy, I'd probably eat a few, but I just don't like green beans. I'm just going to use it like this. The Bio-Nylon has a lot more grip to it, so I'm putting it on next. Actually, though, before I put this last orange on, I will put the Airy Silk. Pour that on. This Airy Silk has some grip. This preparation doesn't have as much as, say, like the little bumps I get from Teddy, Timber and Twine. Those have a lot more grip to them. Oh, yeah. Okay, have I forgotten anything? I'm not going to put another layer of you can still see, you can see some of the gold right there, so hopefully you can see it. No, it's sunny. It's a little overcast, but I can see the sun up there. Well, I can see the sun reflecting on the glass, so it's not bad. And I think it's supposed to be decent temperature-wise. Okay, so I think we're done. Okay. Let's get this over here. And actually, before I do that, I need to cross out the Tessa Silk so I forget that because I didn't put any on at the beginning, did I? No, my bag is still, well, it's not sealed. I don't think I put any on at all, so we'll cross that off. But I'm noticing that my Tussle Silk is falling out of the bag. So let's put that away. Okay, so time to take off, which means it's time for you to start guessing how much this weighs. Right. This is going to be called Thanksgiving. What did I do with it? Thanksgiving Feast. It's hard to tell. BFL is always hard for me to tell if it's thick or thin. And how much bamboo I put in. Of all of those ingredients, I think the bamboo weighs the most. Okay, and then I always press back down here in the crease. Just makes it easier to get off. Pull up my sleeves, and then we can start taking this off. Especially since I'm going to be making a blue-green bat next, so still making a few more Aruba shallows because it's sort of a mixture of two different braids, and so I was able to get 4 makings for 4 bats off of here. Liking the color, though a lot of that is down to the base, the curlicues braid, that color that Carla had. Okay, so going sideways. Okay, and now I'm gonna step off camera and do the fluff and fold. Just sort of gently tugging the bat, teasing the bat out so that it increases in width. Goes from 8 inches to probably maybe close to 16. Some get wider. When I do merino top, they barely get like 12 inches wide. They don't increase that much. But this is not merino top, so hoping enough green shows up that you can see it on the ends. Okay, here we go. I'm happy with this. Now, the fact, I didn't put that Tussle Silk in. I mean, I'm using a BFL silk base. So, by the way, if you're not guessing weights, go ahead and guess your weight. Because it is that time. Tear it out. Get my little card ready. And the weight is... okay. Stop moving. 2.5. There we go. I'm also going to write down it's layered. Okay, it's staying at 2.5. Yeah, so 2.5. I will take some photos of this afterwards. And yeah, there's 10 new comments. So I will read through the comments when I can get the phone in a position where I can actually read them well. And because, like I said, I'm only seeing like little bitty slips of them. I'll take photos. I'll post it both here and in the WAFA group. Thank you if you found your way over from the WAFA group. Because it's just, hopefully by the end of today we'll have figured out what the problem is. Though I will say, at least I can go live on my page, which means it's not going to interact with live sales, which was, of course, my first panic attack. Do I need to buy a new phone before the November WAFA sale? I am in the November WAFA sale. I'm on Sunday again. I think I was originally supposed to be scheduled for Friday, but I let Ellen know that I had this Friendsgiving at my friend's house elsewhere, and so I'm back. I'm back on Sunday. I think it's mid-afternoon again. I just need to look at the schedule. I think it's 2, but it could be wrong. So don't write down. I'll make an event and all of that. So thank you very much for tuning in for this impromptu bat making session. and the phone was plugged in. I can't see what the little battery thing is, but hopefully it worked out pretty well. So I hope you all take care. I hope you all have a great day, and I'll see you around on Facebook.